morning, students. The topic that we are going to start with it today is the enum constraint. The enum constraint is used to maintain the domain integrity in a table. A column having the enum constraint defined accepts the value from the set of values defined in the enum constraint. You will better understand this with the help of an example in the next slide. Now consider this following table named person as shown in this slide. This table consists of 3 columns. The first one is person ID, then the person name, and then the gender. Out of these 3 columns, the column name gender have been defined an enum constraint. That is, it can choose any one value out of male or female given in the set. Here the set consisting the entries male and female is the domain. The column name gender cannot choose any value other than the values male and female as mentioned in the domain. If the value male is chosen, then gender will be equal to male, and if the value female is chosen, then gender will be equal to female. In this slide, you will be learning about the set constraint. This constraint is somewhat similar to the enum constraint that we have discussed before. The set constraint defines a set of values for the column domain, and any value in this column will be a subset of the specified set only. In the next slide, you will understand this constraint properly with the help of an example. Consider the table called person in this slide. If you see this table, you will notice that an extra column called marital status has been added just after the column called gender. Just as how the column gender have been defined an enum constraint, similarly the column marital status have been defined a set constraint. And the domain for this set constraint consists of 4 values. These are single, married, widow, and divorced. If single is chosen from the domain, then marital status will be equal to single, or else if married is chosen from the domain, then marital status will be equal to married. Same is the case with widow and divorced. That's all about this set constraint. In this slide, you will be learning about the default constraint. The default constraint assigns a default value to a column having a default constraint set. If a value is not specified in the insert statement, the column takes the value specified in the default constraint. The following table called person demonstrates the default constraint. In this table, check the column named marital status. You can see that just after the set constraint, there is the not null constraint followed by the default constraint. The default constraint consists of the value called single. That means if the user does not select any value from the domain of the set constraint, then it will select the default value called single for the column called marital status. In this way, if no value is specified for the column marital status, it will choose the default value called single. That's all about this default constraint.